Hello, and welcome to Blessing Minds. Kindly like, share, and subscribe our channel.
Most people will go their whole lives and never really understand why they didn't get rich. It's easy to blame the economy, right? Or bad luck, or point the finger at someone else. But the thing is, all around us, there are these people, quietly, steadily, building incredible wealth. And trust me, it is not by accident. It's because they've tapped into a fundamental truth. And that's really the core of it all. Wealth isn't some big, flashy event. It's a habit. It's something you do over and over and over again until it's just second nature. So many people fail to build wealth not because of what's happening out there, but because they don't have the right systems in here. They just don't have the right habits. So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Why do some people just quietly get rich while so many others struggle? Well, in this explainer, we are going to pull back the curtain. We're going to break down the specific habits that answer that very question. Think of it as the invisible engine that quietly builds fortunes. And we're going to go through them one by one, starting with your mindset and building all the way up to mastery. Okay, so let's dive right in. Part 1 is all about mindset and environment. Because really, it all starts with the foundation, right? It's about how you think, and just as importantly, who you surround yourself with. These first few habits, they set the stage for everything else to come. So habit number 1, prioritize your day. And listen, the wealthy follow a brutal, totally non-negotiable hierarchy every single day. Here's the deal. You have to do the work that actually moves you forward first. I'm talking before you pay bills, before you check email, before you jump into meetings, before anyone else can steal that time from you. Because if you don't aggressively claim that first slot for your own progress, trust me, busy work or someone else's emergency will fill it. The goal is to win your day first. Then everything else is just a bonus. Okay, habit number 2 is about having curiosity with a purpose. And this right here shows a huge difference in how people operate. See, most people consume content, watch videos, scroll feeds to escape reality. The wealthy? They consume content to improve their reality. It's a total game changer. They don't just mindlessly consume, they question everything. They're always asking, how does that work? They're reading books that actually change the way they think. This isn't about entertainment. It's about purposeful curiosity. And you do that for a decade, that becomes a massive compounding advantage. And if you need proof, just look at this number. A whopping 88% of self-made millionaires read at least 20 to 30 books every single year, specifically for self-improvement. The average CEO, they read over 50. Now, think about your own reading habit. This isn't just about reading more pages. It's about a deep, fundamental commitment to learning. It's about choosing strategic books on business, finance, biographies, things that give you a real return on your time. All right, habit number 3. You've probably heard this quote from Jim Rohn: "You'll become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Now, that's not just some feel-good motivational quote. It's a hardcore strategic principle. The people around you are doing one of 2 things. They're either raising your standards or they're confirming your current limits. The wealthy, they actively seek out rooms where they are the least experienced, the least impressive person there. Why would they do that? Because you can't learn a single thing in a room where you're the smartest one. Your network isn't just your net worth. It's the ceiling you silently agree to live under. Okay, so we've got the mindset down. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Part 2 is about mastering financial mechanics. This is where we look at the practical brass tacks rules of the game, the habits that let you truly master the mechanics of money. Habit number 4 is all about focusing on the gap. Now, what's that? Well, amateurs focus on their income. Professionals, they focus on the gap. And the gap is simply the space between what you earn, your offense, and what you spend, your defense. That space right there is the true engine of wealth. It's not just about earning more, and it's not just about spending less. It's about making the space between the two as wide as humanly possible. Because every dollar in that gap is a dollar you can put to work. It's a dollar that starts making money for you. Next up, habit 5. Use debt as a tool, not a crutch. And there are 2 fundamentally different ways people look at debt. One way builds massive wealth. The other, it just quietly destroys it. See, rich people borrow money to acquire assets, things like a rental property or a business, stuff that's going to generate more money than the debt costs. But most people, they borrow to consume, for a car, a vacation, the newest phone. I mean, think about it. When you use a buy now, pay later service for a concert ticket, you are literally borrowing from your future self to pay for a temporary experience that's already over. And the cost of that consumer debt, it is absolutely staggering. I mean, look at this. The average credit card rate in 2023 hit a historic high of 22.8%. That's not just a high interest rate, that's a mathematical trap. It's basically modern-day slavery. You're promising a chunk of your future work, your future labor, to a bank for something you already used up. This is Financial Defense 101. Stop paying someone else for the privilege of spending your own future money. Okay, habit number 6 is a big one, and it kind of breaks a lot of people's brains. It's that looking wealthy and being wealthy are almost never the same thing. The truly wealthy are masters of living below what they could easily justify. And it's not about being cheap or depriving yourself, it's a cold, calculated strategy. Most multimillionaires live in pretty ordinary homes and drive totally unremarkable cars. And you have to ask why. It's because every single dollar they don't spend on status symbols is another dollar that can go into widening that gap we talked about, another dollar to fuel the compounding machine. So you really have to choose. Do you want to look rich or do you want to be rich? All right, so we've got the mindset dialed in. We've covered the money mechanics. Part 3 is where the fun starts. This is all about building the wealth engine. It's time to actively construct the systems that generate real sustainable wealth. Now pay attention, because habit number 7, understanding the correct flow of money, this might be the single most important principle we cover today. Here it is. Your income from a job is not meant to be spent. It is meant to be converted. You earn income for one reason, to buy assets. Then, and only then, do you live off the income that those assets produce. See, most people get this totally backwards. They earn, they spend, and that's it. The cycle just repeats forever. The wealthy, they use their income as fuel to build a money-making machine, and then they live off what the machine kicks out. All right, habit number 8, build premium skills. And here's a brutal truth for you. You are not paid for your effort. You're paid for your value. And value comes from one thing, skill scarcity. Just look at this chart. The top 10% of earners don't work 5.5 times harder than the bottom 10%. No way. They possess skills that are 5.5 times more scarce and in demand. The secret, the real game, is to get genuinely incredible at a specific craft and then systematically move upmarket, selling that same skill to a better and better audience that can and will pay a premium for it. This next number is so powerful. It reveals habit number 9, build your second income stream before you actually need it. Check this out. A full 65% of self-made millionaires had at least 3 income streams before they even hit their first million. So what does that tell you? Diversification isn't some luxury you get once you're rich. It is a prerequisite to get there. Relying on one income stream isn't a financial plan. It is a single point of failure waiting to happen. The key is just to get that second stream started, just to prove the mechanism works. After that, the third and fourth comes so much faster. Okay, so the engine is built, it's running. Now in part 4, we're going to talk about accelerating your growth. How do we put this thing into hyperdrive? These next habits are all about leveraging time and consistency to create truly exponential growth. Habit number 10 is to invest consistently, not perfectly. And just look at the difference on this chart. It's absolutely staggering. The average person spends their life waiting for the perfect time to invest. The wealthy, they just invest, and then they wait. The massive gap between these two bars has nothing to do with intelligence or brilliant timing. It's just one simple decision made consistently for 30 years. The pros know they can't time the market, so they don't even try. They just buy the average and let time do all the heavy lifting. And habit number 11, reinvest before you reward, shows you where the real money is made in the market. And spoiler alert, it is not from picking hot stocks. This chart is amazing. Since 1960, a massive 85% of the S&P 500's total return came from one thing, reinvesting the dividends. Think about that. Every time you pull money out for a little reward, you're shutting down the most powerful part of the entire machine. The rule couldn't be simpler. Reinvest first, reward yourself later. And habit number 12, think in decades, not months. This Warren Buffett timeline illustrates the insane power of patience better than anything I've ever seen. Get this, over 99% of his wealth was built after he turned 60. Not because he got smarter or made better investments, but simply from the compounding that began when he was just a teenager. Patience is a legitimate financial superpower. When you start, your wealth barely moves for the first 5, 6, 7 years. And that's where most people quit. They give up in year 2. Your greatest competitive advantage isn't being smarter. It's just being willing to wait longer than everybody else. All right, we're on the home stretch. We've covered mindset, mechanics, building the engine, and accelerating it. Now for part 5, the ultimate commitment. Let's bring it all home with the final foundational habits that lock everything else into place. Habit 13 is maybe the most crucial of all. Invest relentlessly in yourself. Because at the end of the day, you are your most valuable asset. The wealthy get this. They have a dedicated budget just to upgrade themselves. They're constantly investing in their skills, their mind, their health, their network, and they don't see it as an expense. They see it as the single greatest investment they can make, with the highest possible return. You know, a $20 book might seem like a lot, until one idea from that book makes you thousands. You are the operating system of your life, so upgrade it relentlessly. And finally, habit 14. This is the one, the keystone habit that makes all the others possible. It's simple. Decide, and then never undecide. You know, most financial plans will actually work if you just stick with them long enough. Wealth is built by being generally, directionally correct, not by being perfect every single day. The single biggest mistake people make is thinking they need to have all the answers before they can start. You don't. You just need to make a decision and then have the guts to see it through.
So as we wrap things up here, I want to leave you with one final question to think about. What one decision could you make today, right now, that your 70-year-old self would thank you for? Because building wealth, it's not some big mystery. It's just a series of conscious decisions stacked on top of consistent habits. It's about thinking in decades, but acting today. So, what's your move?